Okay, let's jump to the next example. Go ahead and go to step 5. It's called arguments, and open this up. In this example, what we're going to do is demonstrate how to pass variables through the path to your page callback function. So go ahead and copy the code here, and we're going to paste it over all of the current code in our pages.module file and save it. Okay, in our pages menu function, our hook menu function, down here at the bottom we've added a new item called pages/argument. We've given it a title of argument, a description, and a new page callback called pages_argument. And we've given it some access arguments to do some simple permission checking. So far, this example looks very similar to our previous examples, but we want this item to behave a little bit differently. When we talk about arguments in Drupal, what we're talking about are items in the path that are separated by slashes. So in this path here, the first argument is pages, and the second argument is argument. And the way we want this particular menu item to work is that we want to take a third argument to this path and pass it in as a parameter to our callback function. The only difference that we have to make to this item is in the callback function itself. So let's go ahead and scroll down to it. It's going to be called pages_argument, and it's at the very bottom of the file here. And you see here we're taking a single parameter. Now when that third parameter is passed, that third argument, through the path in the URL, it will get passed automatically as a parameter to the menu callback function. And then we're just building a simple render array here, calling it argument_paragraph, and we're giving it a type of markup, which says that this item is going to be HTML. And then in the markup parameter, we're giving it a value of some simple text wrapped in a paragraph tag, and we're using the T function to make the text translatable. If you're unfamiliar with the T function, you can learn more about it in the development tips and tricks video where we go over it in detail. But the basic idea here is that we're putting a placeholder inside of the text, and then we're telling the T function what to replace that placeholder with. In this case, we're replacing it with the parameter that's being passed to this callback function here, arg1. Okay, so the idea here is that when we add something to that third parameter, that third argument in the path, it will get passed to this callback function. Go ahead and make sure that your module file is saved, and then jump back to the browser. And let's go ahead and clear our caches to make sure that our new menu item is registered. And I'm going to jump back to the code so we can grab the path for this item. It's pages/argument, and I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it into the browser address bar and load the page. So first of all, we have an error message saying that the first argument that we were expecting for the pages_argument function isn't being passed, it's empty, which is what we expect because we haven't added that third argument to our path yet. And then the text says the argument passed was, and then blank, but we would expect that third parameter there. So let's go ahead and go up to the address bar and add a third value here. I'm just going to type in some value and hit enter. So now our error message has disappeared, and in our text we have the argument passed was some value. Okay, so this is working as we expect it. Let me go ahead and jump back to the code here. If we wanted to pass additional arguments through our menu callback function, all we would have to do, I'm going to scroll down to the callback function here, is add additional parameters to our callback function. We can also use a function called arg in Drupal to pull an item from the argument array inside of our path. But this is the recommended way of doing it when using a menu callback function. You see this pattern of using arguments in menu callback functions a lot in Drupal in order to create dynamic pages based on a certain item in the path. It gives a consistent URL for a particular page and allows you to handle the logic of that page inside of a single callback function instead of registering multiple callback functions for all of the possible variations of the path. So for example, we might be tempted to loop through an item array inside of our hook menu callback and register menu items for each one of the variations of our path. But instead of doing that, we can instead register a single path and use that argument, that extra argument, as a parameter to our callback function and just create a dynamic function there.